I just woke up. I woke up. It's 5:45. Quarter to 6. Oh my god. Yeah. I had a dream, but I forgot it already. I was in bed, right? I had a mad dream, right? Really weird. It's about 2:30 in the morning, and I come around here and slept on the sea. I had another dream, but the dream just a minute ago was all right actually, but I can't remember it.
life and love are winning over death.
Одружились, і це буде, напевно, найкращий день в нашому житті. Ми з Альоною, як сім'я, однозначно пов'язуємо своє майбутнє з Україною.
Це якраз і забезпечить нашу країну тим життям і для наших і ВСУ, і волонтерів, і людей. Вони побачать, що є життя серед цього всього негативу, хочеться і щось таке позитивне. Жити потрібно, тому що
Now we're a year in. The world is still paying attention. The West is still sending weapons. But you have to wonder how long is that focus going to stay here if there is no major breakthrough this year in 2023. And that is a real fear that people here have, that the longer the war grinds on, the less the outside world will be paying attention.
We've been there through all seasons. We arrived in the midst of winter, snow on the ground, it was freezing cold. Then there was the thaw of spring. Then the sunflowers were planted and then we saw them grow. And then we saw the sunflowers rot on their stalks, not harvested because the Russian aggression was still happening. And we'll go back again and then it will be another cycle, another 4 seasons. And you wonder how many winter, summer, spring, autumn will Ukraine have to endure before this war is over.
Hello, high pressure continues to dominate the weather picture this weekend. Now, the best of the sunshine on Saturday was across western areas, but the high pressure not only brought these sunny skies to Northern Ireland, but also brought this squished cloud as the air descended down through the atmosphere. Whereas further east, we had extensive cloud really for most of the day and a number of showers coming in off the North Sea. Now, I'll run you through yesterday's satellite picture. You can see the extent of the cloud. It was particularly cloudy across these northeastern areas. But if we take a look at the satellite picture in a bit more detail, this cloud sheet is going to continue to feed in this kind of direction, which will take cloudy weather into northern England, the North Midlands and North Wales, whereas we've got much clearer skies in this part of the North Sea, drier air, and that's set to move into East Anglia, southern England and the South Midlands. So there will be changes in the distribution of cloud as we head into Sunday. Now, the clearest of the skies over the next few hours across southern areas of England, southern Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and perhaps parts of Western England. There'll be quite a widespread frost. The lowest temperatures West Scotland get down to about -5 degrees, so it will be a cold start. But extensive cloud will continue to feed in across Northern England, the North Midlands, North Wales, with some light showers coming in from the North Sea. Whereas across East Anglia, the South Midlands, probably southern Wales, and definitely most of southern England, you should have more in the way of sunshine compared with yesterday. The other place that will do quite well for sunshine, West Scotland and maybe Northern Ireland, because here we're close to the centre of high pressure. And that high pressure continues to build in on Monday. So again, it's probably West Scotland and Northern Ireland that will have the best of the day's sunshine. Otherwise, probably a little bit more in the way of cloud filtering down the North Sea. So it could well be that it's generally a cloudier picture across England, Wales and eastern Scotland through Monday. On into Tuesday's forecast, well, the high pressure is still there. However, this is a trough just coming in from Europe. And what that will do is it will thicken the cloud up a little bit across southern areas, enough to bring some scattered showers in. So you might find a few patches of rain here. Not expecting anything to be particularly heavy, whereas the weather should be drier with the best of any sunshine again for West Scotland and for Northern Ireland. Temperatures continue to be quite close to average really for the time of year. And with the high pressure staying close by the British Isles really through the rest of the week, the weather stays quiet with cloud varying day by day. Bye-bye.
Hello, good morning. Welcome to breakfast. I'm Ben Thompson. These are the headlines at 6 o'clock.
Rishi Sunak says there's unfinished business on Brexit as he tries to reach a deal with the EU on trade arrangements for Northern Ireland. Awab's law, new rules to improve standards in social housing after 2-year-old Awab Ishak died because of mould in his home. The perils of pavement parking. Safety campaigners in Wales welcome plans to fine drivers who block paths with their cars.
And it's a big cup final day in Scotland and in England as Celtic, Rangers, Manchester United and Newcastle United all go in search of League Cup glory at Hampden Park and Wembley.
Morning all, part 2 of the weekend continues on a very quiet note. There's going to be a lot of dry weather around and a little more in the way of sunshine. And with lighter winds than yesterday, it won't feel quite as cold. All the details coming up shortly.
Good morning to you. It is Sunday, the 26th of February. Our top story, Rishi Sunak says he's giving everything we've got to secure a deal with the EU on post-Brexit trading rules for Northern Ireland. The Prime Minister told the Sunday Times that he's hopeful of a positive outcome, as Ian Watson reports.
The political stakes for Rishi Sunak are high. A deal with the EU appears to be moving closer. This would avoid a trade war between the UK and its largest market. But it could lead to a growing gulf within his own party, with some MPs wanting the entire Brexit agreement in Northern Ireland upended. And unless the Democratic Unionist Party approve of a deal, they won't agree to rejoin a power-sharing government at Stormont. So the Prime Minister has taken to the pages of usually conservative supporting newspapers to reassure sceptics in his own ranks that any deal won't be a sellout. In an interview with the Sunday Times, he says, "I'm a conservative, I'm a Brexiteer, and I'm a unionist. Anything we do will tick all those boxes." But in the Sun on Sunday, he seems to suggest his oven-ready deal still requires a few more ingredients. None of these issues are easy, he says. There's still more work to do, but we've made promising progress. As for that progress, it's understood that any deal would make it much easier and less bureaucratic to move goods from Great Britain to Northern Ireland, and it'd be a less rigid application of EU law on VAT rates and subsidies to industry. The Irish Prime Minister felt that things were moving in the right direction.
Certainly the deal isn't done yet, but I do think we are inching towards a conclusion, and I really want to thank the UK government, the European Commission and the Northern Ireland parties for the level of engagement that they've done in recent months to get us to this point, and we'll just encourage everyone to go the extra mile.
This weekend, the Prime Minister says he's giving it everything he's got to achieve a deal, but it might be easier to reach an agreement with the EU than Northern Ireland's DUP, so the political risks for the Prime Minister remain high. Ian Watson, BBC News.
Police in Northern Ireland have made a 6th arrest in connection with the shooting of an off-duty officer on Wednesday. The 71-year-old is being detained under the Terrorism Act. Detective Chief Inspector John Caldwell remains in a critical condition in hospital after he was attacked outside a sports complex in Omagh. Thousands of social housing managers in England will be required to gain qualifications as part of government plans to improve standards. The change is in response to the death of a 2-year-old in a mouldy flat in Rochdale, as John Donnison reports.
Awab Ishak was just 2 years old when he died in December 2020. The cause, a respiratory condition brought on by mould and damp in his family's rented flat in Rochdale. Awab's father had complained to their housing association for years, but nothing had been done. Earlier this year, the Housing Secretary, Michael Gove, pledged to introduce what's being called Awab's Law, saying people living in social housing were being inexcusably let down. Under the new legislation, landlords will have to investigate and fix mould and damp within strict time limits. Today, Mr. Gove is announcing additional new rules that will mean social housing managers will have to get a professional qualification in housing. It's thought it will apply to around 25,000 people working in social housing across the country. Any landlords who don't comply could be fined by the regulator.
I think this is going to increase professionalism in the sector. It's something that I've spoken personally to the Secretary of State about when I first met with him. And I think it's going to positively impact the sector in general. This should have happened 40 years ago. It should have happened when social housing was first introduced. I think the government could go even further with extending the requirement to be qualified when working in housing, right down to housing officers.
The measures will be included in the new Social Housing Bill, which is due to resume its passage through Parliament later this week. John Donison, BBC News.
The former MP Luciana Berger is rejoining the Labour Party after resigning in protest over the handling of anti-Semitism allegations in 2019. Now, she was one of several MPs to leave the party 4 years ago, but has accepted an apology from leader Sir Keir Starmer, who said that there had been a litany of failures. Rescue teams searching for a hill walker who has been missing in the Scottish Highlands since last Sunday have found the bodies of a man and a dog in the Glencoe area. Formal identification is still to take place, but the family of 33-year-old Carl Sandbrook from West Yorkshire have been informed he'd been wild camping with his beagle called Bane. Police searching for the crew of a tugboat that overturned in the Firth of Clyde have recovered 2 bodies. They're understood to have been the only people on board when it capsized on Friday near Greenock. Eyewitnesses said the tug was escorting a cruise ship into the harbour. Votes are being counted in Nigeria's most competitive presidential election in decades, in which 87 million people are eligible to vote. Now, despite a large turnout, there have been some incidents of violence. Well, let's speak now to our West Africa correspondent, Mayeni Jones. Mayeni, morning to you. Just talk to us about the significance of this election. It is a huge moment, isn't it, for Nigerians?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it comes at a tricky time for the country. Like many other countries around the world, is suffering record levels of inflation. Unemployment is rising. But there's also, in addition to all of this, rising insecurity in Nigeria. And I think that all of those issues combined really came together to get some of the highest turnouts we've seen in recent elections here yesterday. We visited a number of polling units across Lagos, and everybody said that turnout was much higher than 4 years ago in 2019. But I think one thing I have to mention is what might be responsible for that is that lots of young people have actually been engaged with the elections this time. They're some of the highest number of unemployed people here. They say they want to see a change of governance. They're fed up of the 2 parties who've been running the country for the past 24 years. And they really galvanized the vote and the campaigning for third-party candidate Peter Obi. So it will be an exciting couple of days as Nigerians wait to see who will be their next president.
Okay, for now, thanks so much, Mayeni. Thank you. More bad weather is expected in Southern California, where a rare cold weather system has caused havoc in parts of Los Angeles County for the first time since 1989. With the details from Vandana Barn.
Exchanging the dry hilltops and blue skies of California for snow and freezing rain has been welcomed by many with excitement.
Well, I live where there's like no snow ever. Like the only snow I've got was hail in like first grade. And it's pretty exciting. We've been building snowmans.
San Francisco hit record low temperatures, and parts of Northern California reported several inches of snow by Friday.
It is nice because I don't have to drive somewhere to enjoy this weather. Of course, I can't go snowboarding or anything here, but I still enjoy the fresh air the snow brings.
Driving proving difficult in these hazardous conditions, with snow-laden roads in some parts and flooded streets in others, forcing road closures, with a number of cars reportedly trapped in the rising waters. This bank crumbling into the roaring Santa Clara River, taking with it a motorhome and a tree.
Consistent rainfall that we've had in the past couple of months, and then this has been the ongoing storm for about a couple of days now.
These rare winter conditions pummeling Los Angeles has forced a blizzard warning for the first time in more than 30 years. The cause, a massive low-pressure system driven from the Arctic. And it's not the only storm the United States is battling. Further northeast, an ice storm in Michigan has left more than 300,000 without power for a third day. But while this storm has passed, the one in California continues to move south, with large hail and damaging winds set to impact Oklahoma, Texas, and Kansas on Sunday. Climate scientists say there's been an increase in the sheer number of storms across the United States, a sign of warming temperatures. And while this storm is extraordinary compared to the past, it's just the beginning for what we're about to see in the future. Vandana Ban, BBC News.
A Russian spacecraft has docked with the International Space Station as part of a mission to bring home 3 stranded astronauts. The uncrewed vehicle will bring back 2 Russians and American who've been stuck since their return vessel began leaking coolant. They were originally only supposed to stay until the end of March. They'll now have to wait until September to come back to Earth. And the Goliath frog is such a rarity that it's an accolade of being the world's biggest, and it's though meant it's become endangered. For decades, the amphibian, which can grow to the size of a cat, has been overhunted for food and for pets, but work by conservationists to educate poachers has seen it return to new habits in Cameroon. Look at the size of that. It's just approaching 12 minutes past 6. Good morning. Louise is here to keep me company with a look at the weather this morning. Louise, good morning.
I understand why it's called the Goliath frog. Good morning. Oh, good grief. Quite quiet, Ben, at the moment, the weather story. I kind of feel as though I should be talking to you with a cup of coffee in my hand and slippers, because it kind of illustrates the story, really. Not that much happening, but that is good news if you want dry, settled weather with some sunny spells and much lighter winds than yesterday. It did feel cold if you're out and about. Because of the wind chill. Why? Well, we still got the high pressure with us. The centre of the high is sitting up in Scotland. That's where we'll probably see the best of the sunshine, but that's where we've had the lowest overnight temperatures. And we still got this breeze coming in off the North Sea, but not quite as strong as yesterday. But it's still feeding in some cloud across eastern England and a few isolated showers here, a few showers across the Kent coast at the moment. And with temperatures on the low side at the moment, could be a bit of a wintry mix in there. But as we go through the day, certainly more sunshine, as you can see, really from central Wales and Midlands south. There could be a zone of cloudier skies through North Wales and northern England, and then some beautiful sunshine into western Scotland and Northern Ireland. So it's a bit of a lottery. If you are underneath the cloud, the temperatures might be disappointing, but if you've got the sunshine, well, those temperatures will peak at around 7 to 9 degrees. If the cloud is stubborn in places, it might only sit at around 4 or 5 as a maximum. But these kind of temperatures, pretty much where we should be for this time of year. We continue along a similar vein through the night, but that wind might just drive in more cloud and showers across southeast England. So that's going to prevent the temperatures from falling too far. Should stay above freezing. But where we have those clearer skies, yes, we're going to see a touch of frost to greet us first thing on Monday morning. And then as we go into Monday, it's almost a repeat performance. As you can see, the high pressure is really not moving very far, very fast at all. So a good deal of dry weather. There could be a little bit more cloud around on Monday, particularly to start the day, as we see, and 1 or 2 showers filtering down through East Anglia down towards the Midlands as well. So once again, it's Western Scotland and Northern Ireland, along with perhaps Southeast England, which will see the sunnier skies and top temperatures once again between 7 and 9 degrees. Now, not that much change as we move into Tuesday, but there's a potential maybe for seeing a few isolated showers into that southeast corner as we go through the day on Tuesday. And they might just continue to be a bit of a nuisance. So Tuesday will be a slightly cloudier day. Still that breeze, still driving in the risk of some showers just along North Sea coast through eastern England as well. And again, those temperatures maybe up to 10 degrees as an overall high. So if it is dry, settled weather that you're after for your week ahead, you're not going to be too disappointed. On the whole, we will be chasing cloud amounts around, but that high pressure stays with us and the temperatures stay fairly settled too. Back to you, Ben.
Louise, thank you. We'll see you a little later. Thanks. Now let's have a run through some of the front of the newspapers, and the Sunday Times leads with an exclusive interview with Rishi Sunak. He tells the paper the Northern Ireland Protocol deal is not a threat to Brexit, but it's about making sure, quote, Brexit works in every part of the United Kingdom. The Observer leads with its own investigation, which found the Police Federation received more than 1,300 claims for legal support from members facing criminal charges last year. Well, the Sunday Mirror features a plea from an 11-year-old Ukrainian boy to the Prime Minister, asking to be reunited with his dad, who's working in England. The paper says the boy and his mother have been offered accommodation in the UK via the Homes for Ukraine scheme, but their case is among thousands that has been caught up in Home Office red tape. And the Telegraph reports the proportion of families securing a place at their first choice secondary school is predicted to hit a record low after a rise in pupil numbers. It's also a really busy day in the world of sport. Gavin's joined me. Gavin, all the papers, of course. Two big things today.
Yeah.
Just run us through them.
Yeah, absolutely right. We've got some roundups. First of all, for the England Rugby Six Nations, they beat Wales yesterday, 20 points to 10. Their biggest victory in Wales since 2003. It's a huge win for them in many respects. But Wales have got their own problems internally to do with players potentially striking in the WRU and lots of issues around that. But also, you've got Cup Final Day as well, EFL Cup Final Day. The League Cup Final Day. This one on the that was in the back of Sunday Times. This one's the back of the Daily Mail. So what a wind-up, says Kieran Trippier. Newcastle's Kieran Trippier. Newcastle United play Manchester United a bit later on today. That's one of two cup finals. The Scottish League Cup final between Rangers and Celtic as well takes place. But what a wind-up is in. A lot of people are saying that Kieran Trippier and Newcastle are wind-up merchants this season. They have dirty tactics, a lot of people say, fouling and what have you, and time wasting. A lot of people criticising them for that. But it's a huge day for them because it could be a first major trophy in 69 years. So a big day on many accounts. A lot of the fans will be travelling down to Wembley today, absolutely loving it.
Yeah, the train company already warning me that it might be quite a busy journey.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I hear they've banned alcohol on the way back though for Newcastle fans, and there's been a controversy around that because apparently United fans on the way back to Manchester haven't got booze bans, but they say that the Newcastle trip does. So let's see what happens there. Don't know whether that's been lifted or not yet. But.
Busy day all round. Before you go elsewhere in the papers, I mean, there's some great stories inside the papers if you're just waking up this morning. And I don't know how you might feel about this. This is the Observer suggesting that traditionally, if your adult children move back into the family house, maybe they're struggling to get on the property ladder, or maybe they're finding that renting is too expensive. That it has been previously bad for the child's mental health. Well, a big question, one would suppose, about how the adults might feel about this, how the parents might feel about losing their independence. But a new study suggesting actually that even children who are moving back into the family house, it is good news, and their mental health actually improves as a result of that. Being back home with mum and dad, even though they might lose some independence, it points out that saving quite a lot of cash and quite a lot of stress might be one of those reasons. And we know the cost of most things is going up right now, but how about the cost of tomatoes? We know there's been shortages in a lot of supermarkets. We talked about that on the programme this week. But Italian restaurants being forced to replace some stuff because they simply can't get enough passata or tomato. So expect, it says, to see a lot more white pizzas doing the rounds because of the increase in price and availability of the humble pomodoro.
Yeah.
Gavin, have you got any more from inside?
Yes, I do actually. I've gone away from the football and the rugby, and I thought it'd be interesting to talk about this one. There's an interesting boxing match taking place later on between Jake Paul and Tommy Fury. Social media, effectively.
I was going to say, yes.
Yeah.
So people may know them from YouTube.
YouTube and Tommy Fury, Love Island. Tommy Fury being Tyson Fury's younger brother.
Yeah.
Interesting for this one because it's been in the brewing and in the making for quite a while. Jake Paul has had a few fights. He's done pretty well in them, but he's a YouTube star. Tommy Fury, reality TV star, is a boxer, but hasn't really stepped up to fight anybody major. So this could be either an embarrassment for him because the Fury family is only going to disown him if he loses, or if Jake Paul wins, there's talk of him getting a ranking in the cruiserweight. So lots of stake here, an interesting talking point.
Yeah, also a lot of money at stake. Proves
Exactly
that those two worlds collide on sport and entertainment.
Exactly right.
Gavin, lovely to see you. We'll full roundup of all your sports news a little later as well from Gavin. But just approaching 90 minutes past 6, let's tell you about parking on the pavement. We know a real nuisance for a lot of people who might have to then step into the road to dodge all those parked cars. But under new plans in Wales, drivers parking this way could face fines of up to £70. It's something that campaigners want to see right across the UK. Our political correspondent, Ethel Guerrero, has more.
Parking your car partially on the pavement can often seem like the only option. No one sets out to cause a problem. But for Kat Watkins, it can make a journey that's already filled with plenty of obstacles that much harder. It's not just a nuisance for her, it's dangerous.
You've got to find the drop curb, and usually that means going back at least 100 metres, which, puts time onto your journey. And also, if it's a busy road, it's like, oh, great, I really am going to put my life at risk here.
It can also cause problems for those who are visually impaired and people with prams and small children too. This new mum thinks a fine could help change people's behaviour.
From time to time, I have to go with a pram from the pavement to the main road to go around cars. I've always been aware of it, but actually since having a baby 6 months ago, it's become so much more of an issue because I'm pushing a pram, and that's the safety of my child as well, which very much concerns me then.
Currently, the rules around pavement parking aren't entirely clear, and they vary across the UK. It's only illegal to park on the pavement in London. The Scottish Government have passed a law banning it there, but that isn't being enforced yet. The Welsh Government were waiting for the UK Government to ban pavement parking, but have now decided to allow councils to hit the worst offenders with a £70 fine.
At the moment, only the police have the power to crack down on obstructions. They don't have the resources or the time to do it. Councils don't have the power. So by giving councils the power to issue fines, we think that could be an effective tool, because they could then use their judgment of where is the most problematic and target their enforcement of those areas.
Campaigners have been calling for an outright ban, but welcome this news.
We hope that this will give local authorities an easier way to punish people who park on the pavements, but in order to do that, they will need to receive the proper powers and guidance in order to do that.
It's an issue across the whole of Wales, but one that could be clamped down on very soon. The Welsh Government will now consult on the matter with a view to introducing the necessary legislation by the end of this year.
Now, relatives of disabled adults requiring complex care are calling for more funding in the sector to alleviate some of the pressures. There's currently a national shortage of carers, a situation that has got worse since the COVID pandemic. Our correspondent Ben Godfrey reports.
David Sheriff has fought for his independence. He's now in his home in Stourbridge with carers on hand day and night to support him.
Do you like having your own home? Do you like living here?
Helen Ashby has advertised for 2 care assistants to complete her 34-year-old son's 7-person team, but she's had a lacklustre response.
7 years ago, I'd get 30 to 40 good applicants if I put a job advert out. We have one out right now for a 35-hour-a-week staff member to join our team. I haven't had one applicant.
The care industry is desperately trying to recruit staff. Many experienced carers have left the profession, suffering burnout from the pandemic, while for younger carers, the reality of earning minimum wage has made them shelve their ambitions. While some disabled adults do find care, others have to wait.
It's made me very, very unsafe in my own home.
Sean has MS and is recovering from multiple strokes. Because of his vulnerability, we're not using his real name, but he contacted us to share his story. He told us he went 3 weeks without care visits last month after he alleged that an agency worker assaulted him. In the period without care, Sean had a fall at home and paramedics found signs of hypothermia.
They're not realising people like myself is vulnerable.
Since Sean spoke to us, his local authority has secured him new care arrangements. Families supporting adults with disabilities say the government must show a greater understanding of the complexities of care. The Department of Health and Social Care says it's making £7.5 billion available, addressing long waiting lists, low fee rates and workforce pressures. Ben Godfrey, BBC News.
So, as promised, let's take a look at all sports news today. Really big day. Gavin has all those details for us. Morning.
Yes, morning, Ben. 2 cup finals. We've got the EFL Cup final, the League Cup final between Manchester United and Newcastle, as well as the Scottish League Cup final between Rangers and Celtic. 2 huge games in their own right. 2 biggest teams in Scotland going head to head, as well as in England. Newcastle United haven't won a trophy, a domestic trophy, for nearly 70 years. So lots at stake there. And for United as well, they're due a lot of silverware. They're playing so well this season. Manchester United and Newcastle, as I was saying, in action a bit later on. We'll begin, though, with the Scottish League Cup final at Hampden Park between the old firm rivals, taking place at 3 o'clock before Wembley hosts the EFL Cup final. Eric Ten Hag's Manchester United haven't won a trophy since the Europa League in 2017 under Jose Mourinho. That is nothing compared to Newcastle, whose wait for silverware has lasted decades, as Natalie Perch reports.
Football's greatest show of the year. That's Wembley on Cup Final Day.
The year was 1955, and Newcastle United were winning the FA Cup for the 6th time. But little did the fans who lined the streets know they'd still be waiting for another Wembley Cup win 68 years later.
It's incredible,
Lifelong supporters Elliot and Stewart have never seen their side play at Wembley. Excited is an understatement.
I'm feeling a bit emotional about it, to be honest with you, because it's been so long since we've been able to look forward to these games and even feel nervous or excited about it, that now we'll finally get to the final and we've got one big one to look forward to. We feel it around every game as well. It's just that feeling of emotion being here, and yeah, genuinely looking forward to it.
They're hoping there won't be a repeat of their last Wembley final in '99, where they were beaten by none other than Manchester United.
Newcastle is such a hotbed of passion and support for its local team, and it's an amazing place to experience being working in football. Well, yeah, it would mean everything to me. Of course it would. It would mean everything to me to make the Newcastle supporters happy, proud, and I'd love nothing more than to see them celebrating on Sunday night.
Today's match is the first major domestic men's final in almost 35 years where there will be standing. 867 fans from each side will be allowed to stand, like on these seats here. And all of those fans, well, they're desperate to see their side return to its former glory.
Sleeping Giants Newcastle were taken over by a consortium from Saudi Arabia in 2021, making it the richest club in the world. But their recent form is patchy, and they're missing their first and second choice goalkeeper today. Manchester United's unpopular American owners, the Glazers, are now exploring options to sell. The club hasn't won a trophy since 2017.
It's about glory and honor in football. And we deserved to play the final. And now we have a great opportunity to win the cup. So we have to put everything in to get that cup to Manchester.
A trophy at the first time of asking would put quite the shine on United's season. Natalie Perks, BBC News, Wembley.
A huge day at Wembley, and also a huge day in the Scottish League Cup final as Rangers host Celtic at Hampden Park. The Old Firm awaits kick-off at 3 o'clock before the Wembley match hosts the League Cup final. Both teams are in great form, with Celtic unbeaten in 23 domestic games, with Rangers unbeaten since Mick Beale took charge of the club almost 3 months ago. The last time the two sides met was in a 2-2 draw in the Premiership in January.
Obviously, since the gaffers came in, we've had one draw and won the rest of the games. The momentum's really been there with the results that we wanted. We know that performance-wise, there's been games where we felt that we could improve, which is a good thing because we're winning games and still not being the top level that we need to be.
Cup finals, you have to play well. You need a little bit of luck as well, but I think the main thing for us is just to stay focused and continue to do what we've been doing. The team's in good rhythm, in good form. So, if we bring that to the game, along with our other qualities and concentration, stay calm, then I think we'll be okay.
Now, the Premier League title race remains in Arsenal's hands after a win on Wednesday against with a win against Everton on Wednesday, with that game in hand, and that will see them potentially move 5 points clear of the top of the table. It's after a 1-0 win at Leicester yesterday, with Manchester City also winning comfortably at Bournemouth. There were some big victories at the bottom of the table too, as Dan Ogunshakin reports.
Alexander Zinchenko was named captain for the day as Arsenal kept Ukraine in their hearts and minds. Kicking off before Manchester City meant 3 points would pile on the pressure, and that's exactly what they got. Leandro Trossard set Gabriel Martinelli free a minute into the second half, and his unerring finish was enough to seal a victory that had Mikel Arteta purring post-match.
We were super. I think doing what we're going to do against this team here, I love the great for the team.
Now 5 points behind and having played a game more, it was no wonder Pep
Royd, are you in there? Can you hear me?
Amicus, I saw Lloyd get smushed. Do you think he's dead?
Not if I can help it.
Between me and Miles, it feels like he's requested this.
Is Glasgow officially the most depressed city, or is that an opinion?
That was just what I've gathered over the years.
and let's be honest, contributed to.
For the benefit of them who are watching on BBC Two, I'm going to go through it again.
The original script was hated.
Who was decimating their goods. Under the circumstances, Elsa's presence seemed to puzzle them considerably.
Film on 4. Sponsored by Hyundai.
My dreamboat of a guy is Thor.
Nice wraps up the points for West Ham. A fourth goal from Mikel Antonio ensured 3 points and smiles all round.
Second half we were.
I hate football.
You see your Phil's mustachio.
Oh my god.
I almost wanted to jump up there and marry him myself.
Rack off, mate.
I hate football. I can't stand it.
Lisa watched the game. It might be fun if the two of us went clothes shopping.
Mom, I'd love to. But to be honest, I don't need new clothes.
Oh, really?
So even though I'd love to spend the sunny afternoon trying on clothes, it's not.
Well, folks, when you write 52% of the time, you're wrong 48% of the time.
Why didn't you say that before?
Okay, Jimmy, you're up, look. We got Miami, Cincinnati coming up. Any thoughts?
I certainly do, Brett. I hereby declare Miami to be Smooth Jimmy's lock of the week.
Ooh, that's a big lock, all right. I just don't trust that guy.
In the Cincinnati-Miami game, I declare Cincinnati to be my shoe-in of the week.
They both make a good case.
After evaluating millions of pieces of data in the blink of an eye, the Gambletron 2000 says the runner is Cincinnati by 200 points. Bye, you worthless hunk of junk.
You want some of this, don't you? Yeah! Well, you need to know the winners. And I know the winners. So call me now. Whoa! $5 for the first minute, $2 for each additional minute. You have reached the coach's line. Line? Yeah, lay on me, coach. In the game of Miami versus Cincinnati. 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 Come on, don't you realize this is costing me money? We must consider many things. The wind. Oh, not the wind. Is blowing out of the west. Oh. At 5 miles per hour. Oh, God, this is ridiculous. What am I supposed to do? Lisa, who do you think's going to win? The Bengals or the Dolphins?
I don't know. The Dolphins?
Good. Oh, $50 on the Miami Dolphins.
Gotcha, 50 beans on Miami. Homer, I got a call on the other line. Hello?
Oh, it's me, Mr. K.
Yeah, what'll it be?
Put me down for $700 on the Rams. Oh, and put Sideshow down for $2,000.
Mom, I'm tired. I want to go home. Can't I just lie down for a minute?
Now, Bart, I think you'd look very sharp in this shirt.
Fine, get it. Let's go.
No. You have to try it on. Oh, and this one's 50% off.
You know why these clothes are on sale, Mom? Because the people who wear them get beaten up.
Well, anyone who beats you up for wearing a shirt isn't your friend. Oh, this looks good. Oh, and this one is very, very cute. And these. Oh, look. Little bow ties. And don't make that face at me.
How'd you know?
Touchdown, Dolphins! All right, Dolphins!
Woohoo!
50 big ones!
50 big ones?
Oh, you see, Lisa, Daddy's friend Mo promised to give him $50 if the Dolphins won the game.
You mean you made a bet?
Well, I would call it a bet. It's a little thing daddies do to make football more exciting.
What could be more exciting than savage ballet that is pro football?
Well, you know, you like ice cream, don't you?
Uh-huh.
And don't you like ice cream better when it's covered with hot fudge and mounds of whipped cream, chopped nuts, and those crumbled up cookie things they mash up? Crumbled up cookie things.
So gambling makes a good thing even better.
That's right! My God, it's like there's some kind of bond between us.
We've got a troublemaker in booth 8.
Oh, forget it. There's a code red in booth 3.
My God, those aren't the socks she came in with.
Let's move.
Bart?
In here, Mom. But don't open the... Whoa!
Oh, Bart, you could use some new underwear, too.
Look at that stupid kid.
3, 2, 1!
And the final from Riverfront Stadium, Miami 24, Cincinnati 10.
Yeah!
Boy, Mom sure will be happy you won $50.
You'd think that, wouldn't you? But you see, Lisa, your mother has this crazy idea that gambling is wrong, even though they say it's okay in the Bible.
Really? Where?
Somewhere in the back. The point is, we had a great time today. And to keep it that way, let's not tell your mother about our little wager, okay?
Okay, Dad.
Did you two have fun?
You bet.
Well, we had fun, too. Right now, Bart is modeling his new clothes for his friends.
You gotta come out sometime, Simpson.
Good morning! Sensational breakfast entertainment, sponsored by Listerine.
An impulse. An electrical force that powers us. A pulse shaped by pure emotion. As humans, we learn how to control these impulses. But nothing has the power to drive us further than the impulse within. The impulse of a new generation. Cooper born, 100% electric.
The army is more advanced than ever, but nothing can do what a soldier can do.
Pampers Punani Proof Pants. With a revolutionary stop and protect pocket to help prevent leaks at the back. So you'll never fear a punani again. Pampers. Punani Proof or your money back.
They come from deep underground. The water makes them stronger. Sunlight fuels their power. And they will stop at nothing until they've taken over the world. For years, the grown-ups have been keeping the veg invasion at bay. But they can't do it alone. They need your help, kids.
You're going down, please. It's crunch time. Get suit. I help them to defeat them.
Join the fight. Eat them to defeat them.
Deliveroo presents hundreds of groceries at in-store prices. From shop to sofa in as little as 20 minutes. Ooh.
With Vodafone, unbox the new Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra and save up to £504 guaranteed when you trade in an eligible device using our trade-in tool. Now say hello to an epic 200 megapixel camera on Vodafone's reliable, award-winning network.
Our hair colour is us. Call it a power move, a glow up, a refresh, or just being real. When we change our hair, it goes deep. It lets our true colours shine from within. And that's powerful. So try pink, go blonde, make tangerine your thing. Harness its mood boosting magic. It feels good, doesn't it? Embrace the power of colour with Schwarzkopf Life. 5 lonely farmers want to taste romance
I'd be ecstatic to find the love of my life.
instead of flies. Can they find the perfect partner? How are the biggest things for cowboys? City guys suck. Brand new Farmer Wants a Wife. Starts Friday the 10th of March on E4 and All 4.
Cock-a-doodle donkey! Sensational breakfast entertainment, sponsored by Listerine.
Good night, Dad. Had a really nice time today.
Me too, honey.
Can I watch football with you again next Sunday?
Sure, you'll find it gets rid of the unpleasant aftertaste of church.
See how good things can happen if you make a little effort?
Point well taken. Mom, could you loosen my blanket a little? Dad tucked me in too tight and it's cutting off the circulation in my arms and legs.
This team is fired up. We came here to play.
All right.
He'll lose.
What? Didn't you hear what he said?
Look at the fear in his eyes. Listen to the quiver in his voice. He's a little boy lost in a game of men.
You think we should bet against him?
You bet my entire college fund on it.
You got it. Mo, $23 on New York.
Start spreading the news. It's New York over Philadelphia, 35-10.
Yay! Yay!
Dad, I hate to break the moon, but I'm getting nauseous.
Oh, sorry. So, Who do you like in the afternoon games?
Well, I like the 49ers because they're pure of heart. Seattle because they got something to prove. And the Raiders because they always cheat.
And an extremely suspicious play. The Raiders win.
Hey, the new sign's really working.
Oh, it's been a madhouse, Lisa.
Let's see. Football. Homoeroticism in. Oddball Canadian rules. Village George in.
Oh, Doctor, what a finish. The final score.
I'm going to stay outside now. It's a bit cool, a bit fresh. I've got my door open. Yeah, I'm going to sit outside and put my feet up. I'll see you later.